Hey everyone, we are here at Inbound, very exciting, in Boston, Massachusetts, with Meghan Keaney Anderson, the Vice President of Marketing at HubSpot. Thank you so much for joining us
I'm
today.
so glad you're here. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having us. This is great. So we're out here interviewing Meghan, and I've got a number of questions after doing my due diligence, snooping around your LinkedIn and all of that. I really wanted to kind of get into the heart of your journey, the etymology of the Inbound conference, how it's really kind of grown from a small user conference that wasn't even called the same thing. Now just really it's in the spotlight. I mean, you guys have been trending on Twitter. This is a real deal that everybody's seeing around the world. So I think you personally have had a really interesting, impressive rise through the marketing side of the organization. And you've been here, like I said, even before Inbound started,
right?
Yeah. So I'd love if you could tell everybody a little bit more about the early days, its transformation, and then up to now.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Inbound has sort of become this being in and up to itself.
Yeah.
When I began, we decided to throw like a little user conference for our customers. We threw it over in Back Bay in the Boston area. I want to say there were a couple of thousand people there, and I'm probably being liberal in counting our employees. It was really, really
That's
small.
Okay.
Yeah. And but there was one thing we noticed back then, which was there is something kind of magical that happens when people who are passionate about the same things get together, share ideas, and so we stuck with it. And every year it grew a little bit. We got a little bit better. We made fewer mistakes, and we got nicer T-shirts, which is great.
Yep.
And then it's grown from just a few thousand to this year. It's looking like we're hitting 26,000 people.
That's amazing. That's a whole other level.
Yeah, and along the way we rebranded it from HubSpot User Conference to Inbound, or I think it was called the Inbound Marketers Conference.
That sounds right.
To Inbound, and we did that very intentionally because there was a certain point where we decided we actually didn't want it to be about us, HubSpot, the company.
Right.
We wanted it to be about something larger. And so you don't have to be a customer to come here. I think only a portion of the audience is customers now. Now it's just marketers and sales reps and service reps and founders and developers from all over the world. And so it's been nice to have this seed of an idea turn into something that is really a big piece of people's professional years, and they all come home to Inbound every fall and every September, and it's just been really exceptional to see it grow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So let's dig a little bit deeper. So how did that pivot transitional element really take effect? Because a lot of times people have ideas within an organization and it falls on deaf ears, right? A lot of people could just say, look, we just want to get customer acquisition, we just want to speak to our core. Can you explain a little bit about how that transformation happened? Because now it looks like everything's an overnight success and puppies and clouds, and we just have swings on the lawn and all these cool places to take pictures. But there's no such thing as an overnight success with people and with companies and with amazing events like this.
Yeah.
How did that catalyst happen?
Well, so it's been under amazing leadership. There's a woman named Kim Darling and her whole team that have really sort of built this from the ground up. But I will say that one of the things I like about HubSpot is there is an appetite to take a risk on a creative idea that just feels right. Not everything is entirely predictable. Not everything can be measured. And so the company had the appetite to give us a little bit of leeway to build this sort of event that is a little bit different than maybe your typical user conference.
Totally.
And we scraped our knees along the way. I remember specifically there was one year where we just underestimated how popular it had gotten.
Oh boy.
And there were really long lines to get into the sessions. And it was the first year that we had ever heard complaints, and you heard it like walking through the hallway, and you had this moment of like, oh wow, we messed something up here, because we brought everybody here to have this great experience, and they're standing in line. And so we pivoted immediately the next year. We made some big changes to the capacity and got much better at predicting where the interest was going to be in advance, and have sort of remedied that over the years. But those are things you learn along the way. We did not start as exceptional event planners. We started as marketers who loved good content, and
that's almost better though, right?
Learned that
to just come at it from a completely different angle, and it's almost in the ethos of your brand, your company, to take those kinds of risks.
And we've, the speakers are what get people here. It's the program, it's what people expect to hear, and we've had the great fortune to have speakers from Serena Williams to Michelle Obama, great comedians like Chelsea Handler tonight.
Yep.
And by the way, that was another lesson. We pivoted from music to comedy somewhere in there, which I can talk about in a minute. But and really great speakers from the industry. I think Rand Fishkin spoke yesterday. We've had business leaders and philosophers and musicians all take the stage, but the message is kind of consistent across all of them, which is really about this idea of growth and improvement and being true to your principles and the customers that you serve.
Absolutely.
But that's what brings people in.
Interesting. So let's touch on what you said. So I remember the last time I was here, you guys were super into music. I think we had, who was it, like OK Go or somebody took the stage.
Yeah,
and
that was a fun
that's
day.
But this isn't like a music concert, right? So why did you decide to move away from that and get into comedy?
So, I think there were probably a lot of reasons that went into it. One of the reasons that I remember, though, is interestingly enough, music can be polarizing. A band,
so true.
I love Radiohead. Do I think that every person at Inbound is going to want to listen to my emo rock? Yeah, you and I can jam out to Radiohead. Yeah. If we had the chance to sign them, I would probably push it through. But but it's polarizing. You have music tastes that are very, very distinct. And we found that comedy is a little bit more of a unifier. Everybody likes to laugh, and even if you don't follow, Jabuki Williams or Chelsea Handler, and you're not their number one fan, you will still show up to laugh.
That's true.
And laughter is just this amazing panacea for everyone. Everybody wants that release, and so we pivoted to comedy. It's not to say we'll always do comedy from this point forward, but it's been a really nice addition to the ethos here over the last couple of years.
I find, and even a number of your keynoters that I know personally, a lot of these keynote marketer people are stand-up comedians or improv people. So I think a lot of people in the business world, they don't necessarily value a lot of comedy, but comedy is an amazing icebreaker. You have to think on your feet. To be funny and amusing to people, that's hard. To crack some jokes on stage and they could bomb and still do it anyway, right? Some of them might be a little polarizing, so there's a couple people that we're not going to mention in the comedy sphere that you might not want to.
Sure, and there's always that risk.
You're always going to have some people that upset other people, but that's okay. So let's end off with something a little bit more brand focused.
Sure.
So if you can, tell us a little bit about some of the exciting HubSpot announcements that you guys have made, just stuff that people should know about.
Yeah.
For those that are a little uninitiated to the brand, maybe.
No, totally. So absolutely. This year, I love this year because this was the first year that we really let our customers pick what was on the announcement list.
That's amazing.
Based on feedback that they gave us, and we've gotten ideas for them, and you can upvote ideas, and so those are the things that we decided. We're not going to decide what to build this year. We're going to let our customers decide what we build, and so we did that. And what we were able to announce on stage yesterday, sorry, the week is flying by.
Oh my God.
Was
what
just,
day is it?
I know. Just a slew of improvements.
What month is it?
Exactly.
Even, please. You're
no,
fine.
Totally. But we were able to announce a slew of improvements that were really sort of things that customers had wanted for a long time in the product. So those included things like attribution reporting for our marketers. The big deal about attribution reporting sounds geeky, but it is the thing that allows you to say that this social media tweet or this video or this email actually contributed to revenue. You're able to draw that line all the way down to the dollars that it brought into the company. So that helps you justify your work and get credit for it. So that was one big one. There's this really cool thing that we announced called advocacy automation. And what it does is, what we found is that our customers are our best marketers. You go out there, you trust a friend to advise you on what to buy. And so it will help you surface customers that are really, really happy. And then you can set up an automation to ask them, hey, would you review us? Would you, go over to Yelp or G2 or one of these review sites and share your experience with the rest of the world.
Super smart to be detailed to that level too.
Yeah, and
fantastic.
then in the inverse, you can find customers who are less happy, and then you can trigger an automation to your support team or your services team to figure out what's going on there and why aren't they happy.
And then they can become your biggest advocates,
exactly.
like Jay Bear says with hugging your haters.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly. And so I think that is really, we found that like the customers are what build momentum for your business. And so by getting really smart and tailored around who's doing well, who's not, and how do we then empower those people, that's a really nice tool to add to the mix. The other big announcement that rolled out just before Inbound this year is a bunch of free tools. Ooh. So everybody likes free things.
Sure.
We introduced free email and free ads to our free CRM. So now you don't have to pay us a penny, and you can basically run your business off of the free CRM, from everything from marketing to customer service. So those were sort of three of the big ones, and then there was a bunch of other improvements, including new integrations in our marketplace that we're really excited about this year. And I love that they all came out of customer input.
Best place to have it. If you don't listen to your community, you don't belong in business.
Yeah.
Might be a little harsh, but honestly, that's how companies fall on and off Fortune 500. All right, Meghan, thank you so much for your gracious time. I know you're super busy in the middle of the eye of the storm. So
it's been great.
Such a pleasure.
I'd love to get to know you.
All right, thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Thanks.